And now, the last session of the Digital Finance Summit is a fire chat with Liudas Kanepiedis of Ondato, and he's on the stage with Richie Santos Diaz. Please welcome.
So, for those that have been here all afternoon or morning, in the C-level room at least, me again. So, I'm gonna do something interesting. For those in the room, hands up for those that have made a payment in the last 24 hours. Most of you? Come on, I mean, you're getting stuff for free? I'm just checking to see if you guys are awake, that's all. There was no logic to that. But saying that, payments in general are very important, right? And today's topic, although it is important in our lives and in the ecosystem that is fintech and whatnot, it's not just about payments. So today's fireside chat is fintech is not only about payments. So I'm here today with Liudas. Liudas, looking forward to having a chat with you about this topic. Can you give us a bit of background in terms of what you are doing, your history, what company you currently are working with, and just a bit of background about you for the audience to understand?
Hi, pleasure being here, and thanks for inviting to have a chat with you. So, I am actually the payments guy. Yeah, so I've started the first. My first businesses were building the websites, like at the early 2000s, and then I had a inquiry basically on building the payment with the mobile to just basically buy the melody for the Nokia phone, you know, if you remember.
Yeah.
So we built that. Then later on, we built the payment gateway to collect the payments through the banks, all that kind of stuff. So I was doing more the payment collection stuff. Then I was asked by the regulator to acquire the license. So I was having the first payment institution license in Lithuania. Then we expanded the business more into payments, into international money transfers, all that kind of stuff. More into the also like, you know, holding of the accounts and everything. So building that kind of challenger bank. Of course, that time it was not called like that. And also was asked then to acquire the electronic money institution license, you know, so because it was introduced when we were doing that business, there was no that type of license, you know, so and I've spent those like 15 years in the payments, and 6 years ago I've decided that I need to help other financial institutions, and I've started the current business on Ondato, which I'm working on. And we are helping actually with the know your customer process handling, everything from, you know, customer onboarding, ID verifications and everything, and then with the due diligence, data due diligence and ongoing due diligence as such, yeah, so with both private and business individuals. So I see now lots of the different type of business cases, you know, arising, and of course still quite a lot from the payment side. Although, you know, this topic that it's not about the payments only is very relevant, and I think that we had a fantastic introduction by Paolo actually about that, yeah, so that then really makes sense to actually complete this session, I guess.
Yeah, exactly, and you know, you said you're based in Lithuania, and you also, you were telling me earlier you live.
So my base and everything, my company is based in Vilnius, Lithuania, and I'm spending some time in London, where my company is headquartered, and then we have some people there. Yeah, we are more or less, let's say, a European company, working with the clients actually around the world. We have clients from 35 different jurisdictions, but the majority of our people are in Vilnius, Lithuania.
Okay. So with regards to, you know, payments, you know, it just like taking a step back, just payments in general. In your opinion, in what you've seen, I mean, obviously you gave us a story of how you got into beyond payments, but how about, you know, just the kind of global landscape, if you will, because obviously you've seen it especially in Europe, but you also do business around the world. You know, like for example, in places like, you know, the Middle East and North Africa, at one point, payments was 85% of all fintech solutions at one point. You know, that's a lot, right? I mean, obviously, historically, it was across much, if not the rest of the world, but did you what are your thoughts on just kind of like the global landscape of payments, and how has that evolved in terms of your own experience as well?
So, like from my point of view in general, yeah. So payments is like it's like internet, yeah. So basically,
Yeah.
it's just like has to happen, yeah. So like some kind of form of change and kind of value, yeah. So, and then the only question is like what is convenient and what is not, yeah. So, and since the world started to become more global, and basically and the everybody required like faster services as such, so then the new model started to arise. And basically, you see, let's say, older type of economies, which had those like check payments, all that kind of stuff, so basically they just a bit of shifted slowly, let's say, to the other type of method, yeah? So like, if looking at the card processing models and everything, what happened, yeah? So they were actually the same form, it's just in the same type, just in the different form, yeah? So while in countries like Africa, an example, where those type of payment methods were not so, let's say, spread it, so then, of course, they had to invent something like, other and better. And since you are doing something from scratch, so then it's easier for you to do just a proper mechanism that people can rely on. And you've seen like, M-Pesas and those kind of players just booming because it's just convenient for people. And that happened, yeah? So, and of course, that was followed by the international like money movement stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, with some exclusions, yeah. So, and we're in Turkey, we can mention like the currency control example, always was the case in some jurisdictions where that limited the possibilities. But anyway, those markets are kind of, hungry for that type of solutions anyway. And then at some kind of point of time, they're still launching. Yeah, so, and like, honestly speaking, all those like cryptocurrency booms and everything in different jurisdictions are also related to that, because it's just a different form and method of how to transfer the value from one point to another.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting, and it's a good point. I mean, let me ask you this, with regards to the topic. Have you heard, for those here, have you heard of super apps? Hands up, you've heard of a super app? So what's a super app? Because I don't have a microphone to give any of you guys.
So the super app is basically an app combining different type of services, which still includes then the payment for it. Yeah. So actually, like, it is that type of app doesn't exist anyway, to be honest. Yeah. So because even, I don't know, WeChat or whatever, now Revolut is becoming like a super app, yeah? So anyway, the creator of that app is deciding on what kind of services that community will get. So of course, they are creating some kind of ecosystem for that community that is using, or having the app itself to get one or other type of service. So either that would be, I don't know, taxi, food delivery, whatever, cinema tickets or insurance or whatever. But still, it's their decision on what kind of ecosystem it is creating. Yeah. So because super app actually is now coming with generative AI. Yeah. So because the super app itself will be your Apple phone or Android phone, whatever type of, and that will be the software installed into that phone, because you will be requesting your software to pull whatever type of service for yourself.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, you could either do it where you started off as a fintech, probably most likely in payments, which you see examples of that expanded their services beyond just pay, like M-Pesa you were saying, right? Because then they got into lending and these things. And then you also have it the other way where you have the not even financial services, like, for example, like a lot in the Middle East, like Kareem, have you heard of that? I think in Turkey you have the e-commerce app Getter, right? They started off as non-fintech, non-FS, but they got into it, most often payments, right? So that kind of the expanded portfolio has been the nickname, super app that's been slowly being nicknamed in terms of some of these solutions.
So basically, again, I will a bit of refer to what Paula also said, yeah. So, but because it's just like I think it's very related.
Yeah.
So the thing is that people, in general, they don't need payment. Like, you don't need payment as such, to be honest.
Yeah.
I will again say the same, but it's like internet. Yeah, so you don't need internet as such. You need like some kind of information, whatever. With the payment, it is the same. So you need either some kind of service, either some kind of product, or whatever. But the payment, it just has to happen, but you have to control it from all the angles. So you have to be safe, secure, not frauded or whatever, and to be sure that you was charged as you were promised. Yeah. So, but it has just to happen in the background. But at the end of the day, you're looking for some kind of service solution or whatever type of thing, and that's the core we need to understand, because mostly, like when financial institutions, and it's not only the financial, to be honest, it's with lots of the businesses, they're thinking about their like services and products from the technological point of view, but they're not thinking about the problem or challenge they're actually solving.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference in the mindset, because when you're, in example, a retailer, and I had also really good lessons learned from the retailers when I was serving them, because retailers, they're solving the actual problem. Yeah, so how to sell more, how to deliver faster to their clients, and so on and so on. Yeah, so and this
very market driven.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the payment itself, honestly, it's a headache for them because they're losing clients at that stage. And if the payment provider is then thinking of his actual problem about the frictionless payments, all those kind of things, and how to make them happen, so then they actually are adding value to the retailer and to the end user. Because I've seen so many examples when people are creating payment gateways, whatever, they're coming with like that type of list of the payment methods. Now imagine the end user. Where is like, how can I pay? Even though there's plenty of the choices, you know? So that should be like the mindset itself.
Do you think that it's gonna, tying into all the themes today, this conference, do you think that's gonna fizzle out completely in the long term? Or obviously, because like you said, like earlier, it was, you just need it from one point to another. So payments may not be the case. But in your opinion, in the future, where do you see the kind of concept of what we know as payments?
Concept, it is now obvious, and like the market is moving there. So today, we are all on the action-driven market. So you have to do something to get something, yeah? So to press the button to do something, yeah? So it is now moving to the actual, like, with the assistance of generative AI, to the scalable models on actually, like, either thinking, either asking-driven, business models. And that's what we have to think about, because everything rest has to be then managed by, mechanics, machine, whatever, like the intelligence, and so on, but not with the action of the user. And that's what we should think about then.
That's a good point. And just, for the sake of time, there's a lot of people here from different parts of the ecosystem, startups, the financial institutions, people that just showed up. Can you leave, as an entrepreneur yourself, one who's got into payments and diversified, can you leave us with a final word of advice or final thought in terms of your own journey and the future of payments and non-payments especially? In less than 1 minute.
That's a very difficult question, Richie, but I think the advice would be, so first of all, to be actually open to the opportunities, and especially to the requests of the customers and users, and then to be ready to actually change with them. Yeah, so because, and again, of course, not to focus on the products and solutions we sell, but actually the problems and challenges we solve. Yeah, so that would be my advice.
It's a very simple piece of advice. Just be flexible, be open, and no, but it's valid for this. It's valid for everything. So, Liudis, thank you so much for your time, and I'm going to hand it
Thank
back
you,
to
Richie.
the MC. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Liudas Kanepiens and Richie Santos Diaz, for your kind contributions.